Hello, everybody. All right, so we're waiting for Tim to get here. Hope he's on his way. Saw that he was on, but I don't know why he what's going on. I hope he'll be here soon. But we'll give him a few minutes to kind of get here, and if and otherwise, I may end up having to do this on my own tonight. Anyways. We're just waiting. So anyway, if Tim does happen to show up, we'll be going. Well, even if he doesn't, I'm still gonna go over it anyways. But we'll be going over Marvel Mystery Comics Volume 1, Number 3. We'll be reading from the Human Torch, Namor, and Kazar. Right. Anyways, we're just, as I said, just waiting around for my co-host here. Gonna give him a few minutes here, see if he shows up. If not, and I guess I'll be doing it on my own tonight. Well, let's see. Stronger than a whale, he can swim anywhere. He can breathe underwater and go flying through the air. Noble submariner, prince of the deep, oh beware deadly demons. Lord Namor of Atlantis is the prince of the deep. Just checking something here. Page count on some of these. Let's see now. Oh, let's see. So here we're just, as I said, just waiting on him to show up. We'll give him a couple of minutes here. So 16 there. Uh, 40. Okay. Oh, All right, let's see now. All right, so well, I guess Tim must be busy or something like that. Um, I hope everything's all right. Um, all right, so I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and do this on my own. Well, of course, be reading through the features as well as we'll be reading through the features, give some commentary. I guess it'll be a one man show. Well, of course, Tim usually doesn't do any of the voices; he just gives his commentary. But I guess it will be a one man show tonight, fully. So, anyways, all right. So let's go ahead and. All right. So, anyways, Marvel Mystery Comics #3 here. Interesting artwork here. Wow, you got that gold being right there, wrapping his arms around that girl. Very interesting. Hi, fellows. Here's your chance for fun, thrills, adventure. Take advantage of this amazing offer now. Now you can own a real high-powered telescope. Only $2.19 for this genuine 60-power telescope, guaranteed to bring distant people, moon, stars, ships, sports, events, etc., 60 times as close. Most powerful made for anywhere near the money. So one of those like advertised, prize things you just send in the postcard and they'll send it to you. The Human Torch by Carl Burgos. Ah, okay. Well, that's ah. The Human Torch, a scientific creation of the late Professor Horton, whose body burst into flames at his slightest wish. Mr. Carson, owner of the Carson Explosive Company. Diane, Mr. Carson's daughter. Mr. Riton, an agent of the planet Mars on Earth. Wow. Well, that's what a Martian looks like. Doesn't look any different from any normal human being. All right, so let's get into this then. Let's see. All right. The streamlined train, Comet, cracks out a speedy rhythm as her nose heads for Texas. Let me see if I can. Maybe a little better, and then that might be better still. Let's see how we. While inside the fast-moving streamliner, hmm, maybe we can get some news on this newfangled television set. It's worth a try, Mr. Carson. Bah! All I can get on this blasted set is static and blurred vision. Keep trying. But as the static and vision clear, Carson's eyes bulge. Hmm. Great guns! It can't be. It's impossible. This is still 1939. What's the matter? Looking into the screen, the passengers are filled with horror as they see New York City crumble under planes um, spurting electricity. Electricity. Uh, all right, as we continue on here. All right. Here we go. If you can, of course, like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people on the view. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, suddenly a stranger intervenes and laughs heartedly at the stranger's nervousness. Huh? Surely you don't believe what you saw. After all, imagine it's merely a televised version of Lawson Bell's famous broadcast some months ago. Hmm. Maybe, maybe you're right, stranger. I remember that broadcast. I remember that broadcast. Something about Martians, wasn't it? Yes. Perhaps it was silly of me to jump, but all the recent news reportedly have made me jittery. Say, who are you? They call me the Human Torch. This is a pleasure. Meeting such a world famous character. I'm Carson. Yes, I know. You know me, huh? But why are you going to Texas, Torch? Oh, just to look over the scenery. Um, you're in the explosive business. Yes? Kind of a weird way to set the dialogue up there, I guess. The word bubbles. Alright, so anyways, Carson's heart skips a beat as he turns and suddenly sees the planes coming toward the train. Explosives for mining. How the what the look? Same type of planes we saw on the screen. You're right, Carson. The planes wing on swiftly and noisily over the fast moving comet train. The bullet shaped planes passed the train, then dip and let go a salvo of electronic rays that forced the rails to snap and curl a piece of ribbon. Wow. I don't know if some of you remember this. You remember seeing some of this in some of the older like Golden Age and Silver Age cartoons. You may remember. As the comet hits the split rail, it shoots into the air like an arrow. Yeah, that is a possibility when you got rails bent upwards. And like a twisted snake, it lands in the low embankment on the rail side. While on the weird planes while on the weird planes up above, set her down and start searching for Carson. It's as good as done. We'll try the smoking car first. Remember, our orders are to get Carson alive. Get Carson alive, huh? Carson's in there. All right, but he's pinned down to some wreckage. Let's get in there. There he is. We're in luck. He's alive. Oh my gosh. Who? Oh my gosh. Who are you? Names aren't at all necessary. We want the formula for the new Trintro Toluol. Try saying that one 3 times fast, folks. Never, you rats. Rats'll never get it. Meanwhile, in the far corner of the car, the Human Torch is also pinned against the wall. Wow, that was a nasty jolt. But what the looks like the Martians have landed and are giving Carson the works. Why? I can't budge with this steel resting on my hands and legs. And if I put on my flame, they might kill Carson before I could save him. I got one arm free. Now for the other. Meanwhile, in Carson's corner, your refusal was a mistake, Carson. For the price is death. A cheap price to pay, since you'll never get my new super Trinitro Tolol explosives. You rat. As the sharp blade moves, a streak of flame greets it and instantly melts it. What the? Well, what the? It's the Human Torch. Right. And here's a flaming fist to remember me by. Pow! As the second Martian rushes forward, the torch whirls and and kicks his foot, thus sending a ball of flame into the Martian's face. Thought I forgot about you, huh? Huh, Martian? Look out, Torch. The roof's caving in. Lifting his arms to the falling ceiling of the train, the torch waves them in wide circles. Ah, how do you like this, Carson? Hmm. Good work. The roof evaporated. Yes, and now to get you free. Never mind me, Torch. I know my spine is broken. Listen carefully. You heard these men mention my newest formula for safer TNT. Well, it's in my pocket. If it falls into the wrong hands, that person can control the world by force. That's where you come in. I want you to give it to my daughter, Diane. I know you can be trusted. Ouch, my back. Sorry to interrupt, Carson, but I'm going to melt the steel bar so you can move. All right. That's I just got a message back 10 minutes on his way, so hopefully we'll see him here soon. Anyways, back to the story here. After melting the steel, the torch snaps off his flame. There. Now, how's this? Hmm. Much better. Now reach inside my pocket and get the envelope out. Is this it? Yes. I created it for the mining industry, not for war or terror. Funny, I feel kind of faint. Well, considering that if he said that his spine's broken, that would make some amount of sense. You know. Hmm. Anyway. Hmm. So your TNT threatens the peace of the world, huh? Carson, he's dead. We can be sure of one thing. Carson, I promise that this formula shall never get into the wrong hands. But as a strange rumble is heard outside, the torch looks through the professor's uh, the roofless train and spots a huge boulder shooting down at top speed. Good heavens! That rock is headed straight for the conductor. I've got to save him. Huh? The conductor, frozen in his tracks as the rock is almost on top of him, ducks as the second flash of light streaks through the air, catching the boulder, and instantly turns it into lava as from a volcano. Hmm. The torch causes the flame to vanish. Thanks, Torch. I sure had a close call. Forget it. I couldn't see you get hurt. That's all. Help! My baby is in car too. I can't reach him. What? Get me a wet blanket. I'll save him. Seconds later, the torch makes for car two. Without pausing, the torch dives into the steel car, which parts like warm batter. Finding the child, he wraps the moist blanket around him, um, swaps off his flame, and calmly walks from the car. Wow, that's a very interesting fire rescue. My baby, he's safe. How can I express my feelings in words? It isn't necessary, ma'am. Then, in a dazzling burst of speed and flame, the torch shoots forward like a fiery ghost in the night. And now to deliver the formula. The next day finds the flaming man in Carson's hometown, Gallatin, Texas. Later, um, later, piding out his flame, the torch makes his way to the offices of the Carson Nitro Company and frightens the receptionist by his strange garb. Hmm. Don't be scared. These are the only clothes I possess. I would like to see Miss Diane Carter. Important. She's she's busy at the moment. You'll have to wait. As the torch waits, he hears an angry voice coming from Carson's private office. Sounds like someone is darned mad. You're a fool, Diane. I'll get that formula one way or another. He opens the office door and watches the argument. All right. I guess we'll wait to see how this. But at least with that particular drawing of her, she looks older than I think she is. Because I was under the impression, usually back in these days, if you had, like a famous business executive, his daughter was usually portrayed like, if let's say Carson was maybe in his 50s there, she would have been in her 20s, but that doesn't look like a 20-year-old woman to me right there, at least in that shot or that in that drawing. So, and if anything here catches your attention, guys, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Oh, there he is.
Sorry about that. One, I fell asleep. Two, I had to go hurry up and have dinner. So here I am.
All right, I was like wondering, like it was getting like 5 minutes down, going, okay, where's Tim?
Yeah.
I'm like, I asked you guys to come in a little early because the kind of prep.
Oh,
and then,
I had a long day, so as soon as I got home, I crashed. I didn't realize what time it was.
Yeah, well, you're here now, so.
What'd I miss?
Well, I'm currently reading through. Marvel Mystery Comics Volume 1, Number 3. I'm currently reading the Human Torch feature right here. So this particular story has kind of a War of the Worlds vibe to it.
I see.
Now let me ask you something there, and you can. I'm going to need to step away because I forgot to do something even myself here before the show, and that's turn the Do Not Disturb sign on my phone. But I want to ask you something. You see the panel to now. Now, from what I understand, the way the story goes here, there are some bad guys who are trying to get this business owner who's an explosives. He runs a company that creates explosives and TNT for mining purposes, and people were trying to get. And he's killed when these people claiming to be Martians attack the train he's on. And the Human Torch tries to save him and asks the Human Torch to get the formula to his daughter. Okay. So I'm thinking that the guy had white hair and stuff. So the guy whose name was Carson, probably in his 50s. So you would think that the girl, his daughter, who's that girl in the far right there, would probably be most likely in her 20s. Does that look like a 20-year-old girl to you? And while you're answering that, I'm going to go off camera here for a moment because I got to go turn my phone off.
All right, let's see.
Be right back.
Let's see. No, that looks sort of. If you think about it, you gotta do you do away with the excess hair there. It almost looks like a guy in drag. That looks like a very terrible drawing of a woman. And that's my 2 cents on that one. Now, who's ever listening, may I recommend on Twitter, if you find a link to sign up for Melvin 3, which launches July 29th Pacific Daytime on Fund My Comics.
Actually, if you want to continue to promote your comic for a moment, because I'm going to step away from the computer for another moment or so. But if you want to like share your links and talk about your comic and all that for a moment while I'm away, and then we'll get back to the comic here when I get back. All right.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So where was I? Actually, I might actually have to bail here in a bit. I have to go chat with someone else and come right back.
So did you? Oh, where'd he go? Oops! What happened? Oh boy, what happened to Tim? I go off and he's gone. I hope everything's all right. Hopefully he'll come back here. Apparently he did send me some kind of message. I'm thinking it's probably him. Be right back. Right. All right, so he sent me a message that he'll be right back. Well, hopefully he'll be back soon. All right, so hopefully everybody's as I said, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, and see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Yeah. So, anyways, just want to check something real quick here. I guess that one just finished. Huh. Right. So we just see. All right. Well, I may have to just continue. Hopefully he'll be back soon. We're waiting for Tim to when he'll come back here. Well, anyways, I guess until he does come back, I guess I should just go ahead and continue reading here. All right. Yeah, that does kind of look a little off there in terms of how they drew her. But I know I did hear what Tim had to say on it. Even if I had the formula, you'd never get it, Mr. Raton. Or should I say, Mr. Rat? Yeah, to me, she looks older than she should be. As I was saying earlier, I think given the situation, she should probably be more like in her 20s. She looks, if anything, she looks more like she's in her late 40s, early 50s. Um, you know, which does that mean that her father then was still running the company in his, in what, his 70s or 80s or something like that? um, or even his 60s? Let's see how she looks over the rest of the feature here. See if you know if that may just be that one particular picture. We'll just wait and see as we continue to read through the Nice going, Miss Carson. Start now. Start moving, rat. Your carcass leaves a stench in the room. What the? Who are you? Spotting the unlit cigar in Raton's mouth, the torch lights it by pointing at it. Now do you know who I am? The torch. Hmm. You made a mistake for interfering, Torch, and you'll pay a heavy price for doing so. Hmm. And as for you, Diane, get this get this. Your father developed a super TNT, and nothing shall stop me from getting the formula. Do you understand? Nothing. With hate in his eyes, Raton um, slams the door as he leaves the office. Mean cuss that, Raton. Bang! Yes, he wants a formula which doesn't exist. Hmm. You're wrong, Miss Carson. Your father did develop a super TNT, and here is the formula. There is? How did you get it? My father. Has something happened to him? There she does kind of look a little younger. She looks more like what she probably should, what I would think she probably should look like, in at least in these. Now this could be the scan too, just how the scan worked out. Hmm. All right. So, anyways, the torch tells Diane about the train wreck and her father. He was a great man. My father never had an enemy in the world. Easy, girl, easy. Let's visit the lab. I want to see how powerful the new explosive is. Brave girl. Diane leads the torch to the lab. You said that men from Mars wrecked the train? Is that so? Yes, why? Ever since Raton spoke of Martians 2 years ago, we thought him crazy. Diane mixes the formula with great skill. Can't say I have only a vague idea about the conversation. What did he say about them? Here, put these blinkers on. I'm going to ignite the mixture. Thanks. Boom! A mighty blast rocks the room as Diane sets off her father's formula. Zowie! Some explosion! Just about wrecked the room. Say, how much did you mix? Ah, just a pinpoint preparation. You know, a person could control the world with this stuff. No kidding. With that kind of explosive power, you could take. If all she did was a small amount there, imagine if they had a huge. I mean, they had that formula, if mass produced, could be very dangerous. It could literally take out continents, probably. Those were your father's sentiments. No wonder Briton wants that formula. But I wonder where the Martians fit in. Don't know yet, but don't you think be we ought to experiment more this time on an open field? Yes. No, Tim's not even. Oh no, he's all right. I saw that. Oh, Oh, okay. You did come back. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were coming back tonight because you
Yeah, I know.
so suddenly, and then I just messaged RJ too. I wasn't sure if you were coming back. So I was gonna,
Oh well, it's more the merrier, I guess.
yeah. Well,
Um,
he dropped out right after I finished typing out the message to him. So, but but
well,
yeah,
I
everything
said,
okay?
yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. Just my significant other is, you know, taught one to
What was that?
talk. I said my significant other wanted to chat
Huh.
and talk to her for a bit. You know how they are. So,
Somewhat, at least in theory. I unfortunately haven't really had a significant other too many times in my life.
well, when they want your time, they want your time.
Right. And it's best to give it to them. It's just unfortunate that it just happened right now. But anyways, back to the story. So I think it was just that one panel because in the others that where we did get some good shots of her right here, she does look more like younger.
Yeah, but also women had they had a different look at that time. So
Oh yeah, in terms of the hairstyle and all that, I get that. But I'm just saying, like that right there, right where we talked about.
that is an ugly panel. That is
Yeah,
an ugly panel.
she looks more like she's in her like late 40s, early 50s,
But
closer to what her father's age would be.
like I said, take away the extra hair, like, and then kind of like crop it. It looks like a dude.
Yeah, yeah, but it looks like she's got some like wrinkles there too. But then I guess they fixed it. If granted, we don't get as close a shot in some of these other panels, but it looks like they fixed some of that at least. As like there, she looks like she's more like that middle panel right there. She looks more like she's probably in her 20s. So basically, Torch got her the formula from her father, and they are now experimenting with it. And apparently, it's quite a powerful explosive here.
Oh,
So
is that what makes him the Human Torch?
no, his origin happened in the first issue.
Oh, okay. Because
This is the android Torch, of course. This is not Johnny Storm.
yeah,
This is so anyway. So this is where we're at with the reading here. So later, um, a glyc a later a glycerin truck leaves Carson's company with a torch and 2 ounces of the new explosive, and heads for Carson's experimental field number 1. Well, just in case, in just a while, I'll know how really powerful this formula is. As the truck slides past a side road, um, car shoots onto the road and follows the truck. Inside the pursuing car, hmm, that was the torch. All right, keep on his tail. He might be carrying the new TNT. Okay. What the? A car is trailing me. Queer looking hood on that car. Now, in this case, queer means weird, not what we know it to mean today.
yeah, I know. Actually, if you think about it, the meaning hasn't really changed. It's changed with a certain demographic
Well, there's a slightly different connotation to it now than it did back then. Obviously, queer generally means weird or strange, but what weird or strange meant back then probably had a different connotation than what we'd say would be weird or strange now. All right, so a second later, the Martians car lets go the false hood that springs into the air, air torpedo fashion. Let her go. Good Lord, that's it. A false hood. That'll cut into the truck and blow me to pieces. All right. While the hood shoots through the air at a super clip, the torch turns on the flame, cuts through the top of the truck, and leaps into the air. As the steel cuts through the back of the truck, it gets off the high explosives, while the torch leaps into a nearby creek. Wow, so he's on fire there going into a creek. You see all that evaporation happening there, Tim?
Yeah, I see that.
All right.
I take it the story method, the Marvel story method that we all know, hasn't been implemented yet.
Probably not. Well, yeah. Remember, at this point, Marvel wasn't really even Marvel. It was at this point it was still Timely comics. The story, of course, was written by Carl Burgess, who was the guy who originally created the Human Torch. So, anyways, as we continue on with the reading here. Let's see. Hurry and bring the glass tube with you. I saw where he landed. At once, Excellency. Well, what are you waiting for? Dive in and don't come up until you have the torch. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think grabbing a hold of the torch is going to probably be a little more. Well, I guess he's not on fire, as it were. What the Martians? And I'm caught. Ah, the water must have extinguished his flame. Um, let's see. Pushing the tube. Okay, so I guess I read this out of order a little bit. uh, Pushing the tube um, into Gala water, the chief Martian places a cover over the open end of the tube. Let's see. Then, guarding the torch's prison. Okay, so I guess we did read it right then. The torch's prison. They lift it and make for their car. See how weird this paneling is right here?
Yeah, it does look kind of odd.
So confusing, huh?
A little bit.
Head for the roundhouse. Our Earth friend, Mr. Raton, awaits us there. Later, look, there's Raton. Hey, we've got what you ordered, the torch. Perfect. And now the meddling fool shall pay for his interfering. Don't you just like the old style dialogue right there? Hey, Tim?
Yeah, I do.
Feel free to also offer any comments as we're reading here, Tim.
Oh, I'm offering comments. It's just that it's a lot of the dialogue in these books are a little flat.
I don't care. I don't care what you do with the torch, Raton. We want the formula for the TNT. Yes, of course. That was our agreement, Captain Ott. Captain Ott, okay? Um, Now we must get Miss Diane Carson. She's the key to the dynamite. Very well, Riton. We shall return with her in an hour. Reaching town, the Martians spot Diane strolling down the street.
The Martians.
Yeah. Again, as I told you, it's got kind of a War of the Worlds feel to it. In fact, they actually, I think, made somewhat of a reference to the broadcast in this story earlier on. Before, of course, I read that part before you got here. So, I wonder what happened to Torch. That's a girl. Step on it. What the? Martians! Oh! Okay, I got her. Back to the roundhouse. Later. Here's a girl, Raton. So, it's you beast. Quiet. No harm will come to you if you give me what I want. As you know, I want that formula. Not for myself, but for Mars. You see, their planet is threatened by another heavenly body. Therefore, TNT must be used to destroy the lab. So basically, okay,
TNT's gonna destroy this other planet.
that's what I was thinking, right? Kind of a leap in logic there that we've seen in a lot of these stories, huh?
We don't need an A bomb or just get us some good old TNT.
Well, this TNT apparently is pretty strong, though, but I don't know. And while I did mention it might be able to destroy, I don't know if it would actually destroy a whole planet. But
that must be one hell of a TNT, though.
Yeah, well, they call it a super TNT.
Oh, super TNT. What was that? Like an extra bang for your buck? Or what?
I guess. When I tried to tell our government, as about it 12 years ago, and when I contacted the planet with my super radio, I was laughed at. And now you seek vengeance. Is that it? Right. By the way, here's a friend of yours. The torch in an electric chair. Diane. So Raton has her too, the rat. Cute, huh? Now, what about the formula? You'll never get it. Never. And chain her to the rails, Captain Ott. We'll even let the torch see how I get what I want. You're a dog, Raton, but since the formula means more, man, who's the worst bad guy here? The Martians or this Raton guy?
I have no idea.
Raton makes a nearby makes for a nearby locomotive. Ha! It's a good thing you Martians are poor scientists. You see, Diane, I've struck a bargain with them. After I get the formula, a Martian invasion of the Earth, Emperor of the United States. Now, does that you really think the Martians are going to follow through on that promise?
I don't know.
I doubt it. There's no honor among thieves, just as there's no honor among bad guys, right?
I suppose not. It's a ludicrous plot so far. The super TNT and all.
Yeah, being able to destroy a planet. As Raton clamps down the throttle, the engine shoots forward. Suddenly, the brakes screech as the torch dives past Diane and splits the rail in half. I'll get the formula or your life. What the screech? Oh boy. Good heavens, the torch. Every bit of his body is blazing, but his head. Turn on the juice, Captain. That'll settle his hash.
Oh, so they're gonna use fire puns.
As the captain snaps the switch, the torch melts his bonds and um, and leaps as the electric current forms um, the electric halo around his body. Surprised? Well, how's this? And that. And that flame takes care of you. The torch touches the glass, melting it. Touches the glass, melting it at once. It's funny. I feel dizzy. Could it be this glass covering my head?
Could be.
His head clears and also bursts into flames. Um, so that glass must have been airtight or something like that. That glass over his head must have been airtight.
Oh, okay.
Ah, don't move, Diane. I'm going to cut your chain away. It's a miracle. He just point his finger and just shoots flame, melting or burning objects. It's amazing. Wow, not much is needed to impress her, huh? uh, are you okay, Diane? Good. Say, where did Raton go to? There he is. I've got to get out of here. What's this? What's this? Sand? Maybe that'll put out his flame. And then to get Diane and the TNT. See where all this is going here. All right, I guess trying to figure out just exactly how. I mean, this one doesn't have the arrow pointing to which goes where. So, all right. So, anyways, the torch laughs as he turns the sand.
Oh, I get it. Wait, is that's like a panel within a panel?
Yeah. Well, you see that. So I'm thinking left. I was thinking left. Left top, left bottom, then right. But I think it's left top, right, then bottom, left bottom. So that's what I was trying to. So the torch laughs as he turns the sand into hot, slippery mud that runs down a slide and empties into a nearby river. Smoldering sand. Oh, there's another. Okay, I see what you're talking about. The panel within the panel. What? What the? How do you like the sand torch? Failed might have known the torch would do something like that. But this streamliner will carry me far away so that not even the torch will find me. Drat it! Raton is getting away on that train. And if you, Tim, if you did, thank you for the like and the share.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, this first features like 16 pages. The other two are 12 apiece. So we're gonna try to get through 40 pages of content. I know we're already past the hour mark, but tonight, around this time, Tylee was doing Marvel Mystery Comics and Daring Mystery Comics, but this month they only published Marvel Mystery Comics, so that's why we're just focusing on this one, trying to get through the stories here. And if I'm not mistaken, the tracks circle that mountain before it hits straight track. With his flame glowing, the torch takes a mighty leap to the top of the mountain. Just as I thought, here comes Raton. The torch moves back, gets set, and takes a long leap, diving off the top of the mountain. Now, mind you, he hasn't learned to fly yet. I don't know if this torch actually flies or not. He might at some point, but they still don't have him flying yet.
It doesn't look like it.
And here we go.
Because that's what you want to see when you're getting rescued, a big streak of fire coming down on you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're saved. Here comes a bunch of fire.
Wow, it sure is hot in here. Made it.
Oh, he's getting the bad guy. Never mind.
Yeah. What the ceiling's melting. Hello, Raton. The torch. Before either can speak, another train on the same track shrieks out its danger whistle. That means that we're in for a crash, Raton, unless... Never mind, I don't want to be crushed. You've only escaped me for a while, Raton. Whirling about, the torch sends his blistering hot body crashing into the steel wall, reducing it to a molten magic. All right, it's hard to make out what the text is saying. Seconds later, the torch is coasting on already melting wheels. Wow. Engineer is amazed as the streamliner evaporates completely off the track. That's one way to prevent a train wreck. Huh? Guess I'll pick up Raton and head back to the roundhouse. There he is. Looks like he hurt himself. The torch snaps off his flame. Uh, he must have had an awful jolt. I wonder how Diane is. Has she still got the formula? I must get back in a hurry. Back at the roundhouse. Yes, and it's true. We really are Martians. And what Raton said about the invasion of Earth would have been real. If we got the formula, Raton was our last hope. Although we really hated him for his thought of becoming emperor. Then it's true that the Martians are poor scientists? Yes. You see, after our wars hundreds of years ago, our science of explosives dwindled. Now we know nothing about them. But why did you men wreck the comet and kill my father? Hmm. Hmm. The Great One from Mars ordered us to obey Raton as if he were the Great One. We did, and I do regret that lives were lost. You must believe me. And now I must return to Mars, a failure. Although you could help us, Miss Carson, but I do not intend to use force. Goodbye.
Not before having a one hell of a time on Venus, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yep, I'm pretty sure I do. Ah. Anyways. After dropping Raton off at a hospital, known to the police, the torch calls New York and circles and clicks on the television broadcast. Then goes to the roundhouse. Diane, I've just checked on that television broadcast. Fiction. Where are the real Martians? They just oh wait. They just took off in their ship. You know, Torch, I believe they're telling the truth about their plane being wrecked by another plane. I could have helped them. I'm sorry I didn't. Because of the tremendous power of Father's explosives, humans will seek it out for selfish purposes. Isn't that always the case, Tim?
Yep. Is this still prior to World War II? Because I think the
Yeah, this
Human
is
Torch.
this is still this is still prior to World War II. In fact, as I told you before, it has kind of a war of the worlds because at the
Yeah.
very beginning there was like a television broadcast talking about invaders,
Yeah. Yeah,
invading New York.
because I think the Human Torch, they did continue making Human Torch comic books into World War II, where he was fighting the Nazis. I don't know if
Well,
it's the
this is
same
a
torch.
different human torch. This is a different human torch than people know too.
Yeah,
Most people, when they hear Human Torch, they think of Johnny Storm of the Fantastic Four.
or the one in
He wasn't
Avengers
the
West
original one.
Coast,
This is the original right here.
or the one in Avengers West Coast. I think that's the one I thought of first.
Hmm. Well, the West Coast one was the android from the Golden Age here.
Yeah, is that the second Human Torch then?
As far as I know, this is the first Human Torch. This guy
Yeah,
right here, this android. He's
and
an
I mean
android from here now.
it's like how many Human Torches are there though?
I don't know. I've never actually looked into it. Remember, I before I did all this with the historical comic retrospect, I focused more on DC and the companies that DC absorbed. I didn't really do as deep a dive into Marvel.
Marvel was kind of the upstart that kind of snuck in and kind of pushed past DC Comics, much like Image did in the '90s when they kind of It kind of gave both Marvel and DC a run for their money,
Mhm.
at least for a decade.
I mean, going to the Marvel wiki right now to see. All right. So according to the Marvel wiki here, two men use the alias the Human Torch in the mainstream continuity. Jonathan Storm, the youngest member of the Fantastic Four, and Jim Hammond is the original Human Torch created in the lab of Phineas Horton. He's virtually considered human, and his android body produced his fire powers. He fought turn. So the Human Torch that we're looking at right now, we're reading through right now, was the original one, the android one, and then Johnny. So there were only two Human Torches. So there you go.
Oh, okay. So this guy became like an android or something.
I think he was an android from the start
Oh, well, I mean,
because he was. I think he was built in Professor Phineas Horton's lab.
oh, Phineas Horton sounds like a Nickelodeon character.
Yeah. Um. hmm. You're right, Diane. It would be better if the Martians took the explosive off the face of the Earth. Um. With your permission, Diane, I'll bring them down. Can you? Let's see. Turning on his flame, the torch whispers in his hand and sends a flame streaking through the air. Turn back! We'll help you, the torch. Good Lord! Did you see that? A ball of fire sped past our ship. Look. It burst. There's a message. Fire. It's from the torch. Turn back. Mars will be saved. Next month, another Human Torch picture action story. Right, so I'm going to move ahead to next. I'm going to do the Namor story next. So you want to give your let's see. All right, there we go. There's Namor right there. Um, so before I get started with this, I'm going to go off camera here for a quick moment, Tim. You want to kind of give your commentary? Granted, I know you didn't get to see the whole story, so I know.
I think I get enough to kind of get the gist.
But if you want to give your commentary on it for a moment, I've got to go off camera here for a quick moment. So I'll be right back.
It's kind of simple. It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see Marvel before Marvel was doing what they were known for. But what we all came to know Marvel for, which is interesting characters and and well written and well told stories. Um, these are like this is the foundation of Marvel comics. I mean, they still used the old Human Torch, but just not in the way that we would imagine. They still use Submariner, but not in the way that we. I mean, I think he was a villain even in the modern comics, but he became more of a hero, I think. Um, but here he's more of a bad guy, I think.
Well, yeah, if you remember, Rick and I have kind of debated on this. You know, I think in the case of for the most part, people would interpret Namor here as a villain at this point in history, but it's one of those cases where one society's villain sometimes is another society's hero. You know what I mean? It's not always the case, mind you.
Well, I mean, they were doing a lot. They did like I don't know when they did that, but they did What was that one that was? He was like an Asian villain. Um, who was that? Well, I think they did that one.
Well, there have been a number of times we've seen Asian villains.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of that character though. I think he was a literary character at first.
Tex Thompson. Well, only one that comes off the top of my head is Tex Thompson. Well, Tex Thompson, Slam Bradley, I know dealt with some.
No, but it was like the main character was the villain.
Uh, you remember what company we were or what book we were reading from for that?
I don't know.
Hmm.
It wasn't anything you read. It's just I think there was hold on. Let me go ask my brother and I'll get right back. I think it was, but they also had a villain book. Was it Fing Fang Foom a villain?
Were you asking me or were you
I
asking?
was asking you who else is on the panel. I mean,
Huh. Well, I mean, because you said something about going and asking your brother about. So,
oh yeah, I haven't asked him yet. I was just I'll be right back.
all right. Oh, Fu Manchu. I think he's talking about Fu Manchu. Huh. Anyways, while we're waiting for Tim to come back, when he does, we'll continue with the reading here. We'll probably end up going over 2 hours because, even with these three particular features, 16, 12, and 12, so like 40 pages of content right there. I'll try to get them a little faster. As we.
Well, it was this was the one I was talking about was in the 50s, and it was Doctor Yellowclaw.
Okay, yeah, because when you said it wasn't anybody I read, okay, because
Yeah.
I was initially thinking that you were probably talking about Fu Manchu, Doctor Fu
Oh,
Manchu.
Fu Manchu. I think they might have done something like that, but I think this my brother said it was Doctor Yellowclaw, and he said Submariner wasn't really a villain necessarily, as he's more of an anti-hero.
Well, yeah, well, because again, it's one of those things where you know it depends upon your perspective. Because in this case, the reason he did confront the people on shore is because the surface dwellers, they sometimes call them, were their pollution, what have you, was doing damage to his undersea kingdom. So, yes, to us, the way he went about it might have been that of a villain, but to his own people, he was more or less a hero. So, um, it's more of a matter of perspective there. Anyways, Prince Namor, the Submariner. Submariner, amphibious demon of the earth, bent on an inspired campaign against the white man, mainly American, who had all but obliterated his South Antarctic race. Um,
That seems very pointed panel. I mean, a very pointed caption right there. I mean, if you think about it, he's against the white man, but the American white man for it's like, So what are the Atlanteans an allegory for? I'm just saying.
yeah. Well, you think that maybe that could be playing out today
No, I mean like
in
maybe
today's
there were
society with the way people are acting?
maybe you could. I was just thinking maybe is this the kind of aimed at it towards another superpower that is kind of in the Pacific.
Yeah. Um, who has all but obliterated South Antarctic. Revenge is his motive, and evil is his intent. He has come to the United States on a scouting expedition to map out an extensive military invasion by his own army of submariners.
Hmm.
This Namor the Submariner by Bill Everett, who also did the original Amazing Man in Centaur comics as well.
I feel like this also plays out decades later in a little event called Atlantis Attacks.
Huh. Yeah.
Now, if you remember that, where
Um,
Atlantis.
Marvel did Marvel have a storyline like that? Is that
Yes, they did. They had one called Atlantis Attacks where this I think his name was Attila, and he was a kind of a renegade Atlantean, and he took control of the military and wanted to bring back the god Set.
yeah.
So they needed like 7 brides, and there was like like Storm and various other Marvel characters, and and it was a big event. I think in the early
Yeah,
'80s,
remember,
mid
I'm not
'80s,
as well versed on Marvel. I'm more versed on
DC.
on DC.
Well,
So
Marvel for years had event comic books. I think they kind of came up with the concept of event books.
was that even prior to like DC's Crisis?
Um, well, remember when DC had Crisis, Marvel had Secret Wars.
Hmm. All right. So anyways,
I also add that Marvel and DC have a history of ripping each other off.
hmm. Yeah. Well, they did also work together through Tangent and Amalgam as well.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he is now somewhere underwater in or around New York Harbor. When last seen, he was struggling below the surface with 2 valiant city policemen. One whom he succeeded in drowning. He escaped and now in the offices of the Harbor Patrol. Inspector, we've done everything to stop this madman and have gotten absolutely nowhere. I know, Chief. We've blockaded both the Hudson and East rivers, and what more can we do? Look, Inspector. The lunatic seemed to be attracted to the Drayson girl and kidnapped her. Why couldn't we set a trap for him with one of our young policewomen? A great idea, Chief. We'll use Betty Dean. She's an expert swimmer, easy on the eyes, and a darn good cop. Look at how they describe her.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it's like you could easily just make jokes out of that.
What was that?
I said you could easily make jokes out of that.
Yeah, I mean, but could you just imagine the SJWs crying about now because of how they described her?
They cry about everything. What are you talking about? I can
Yeah, I
imagine all
know,
kinds
but
of stuff.
it's still fun to mention now and again. uh, um, in a squad car on the route back to headquarters, the inspector uses a two-way radio. Calling Captain Darcy. Have Officer Betty Dean in my office in 20 minutes. This is Inspector Peterson. Officer Dean, I have a new and dangerous assignment for you. It requires skill and bravery. You are an intelligent woman, so after I give you the details, I shall leave you to your own discretion later. um, You are familiar with the depredations of the monster known as the Submariner, of course. Well, we are going to make you a plant. Now, in this case, a plant means like somebody who's like, you know, set there to help set up a sting or something like that. Then basically plant the bait. That's where the term comes from. Um, to capture him, you will change to civilian clothes, and your beat will be on the battery when the madman strikes again. Then you will be on hand for immediate action. When you spot the submariner, you will jump into the water and scream for help. He rescued the Drayson girl from fire. Perhaps he will attempt to save you from drowning. The rest I leave to you. Okay, Inspector. I'll do my best. That evening, in Betty's apartment, Betty and Betty announces her new commission. Well, Esther, I've really got an assignment this time. For the love of Pete, what is it now? They gave me the job of trapping the Submariner, but I don't see what a mere woman can do when the entire force has failed. The darn maniac flies in the air like a bird, lives in the water like a fish, and on land like a man. He's some freak species of half man, half fish, and half bird. No, notice her math there. Notice her math. Not
What?
very good at math, is she?
I have no idea.
Half a man, half a bird, half a fish. That's like that's a person and a half there.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's because he's like maybe he's like 1/3 of a bird
Right.
because of the yeah.
All right. And has the strength of 100 elephants, and up to poor little me to capture him. Well, honey, I'm off to the wars. I've got my bathing suit on under my dress, just in case, and little old Roscoe in my purse. So long, darling.
The
You know what
safe word
Roscoe
is
is?
the safe word.
You want to take a wild guess, Tim, at what Roscoe is?
A gun.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
The safe word is bumblebee tuna.
uh, a week has gone by, and Betty maintains her vigil without even a glimpse of the Submariner. Looks sort of hopeless to me. Maybe he's gone back to wherever he came from. But Betty's sharp eyes fail to note the arrival of the Submariner, lifting his head above the surface 100 yards from the battery shore. And there's a Submariner right there. Look at that.
Yeah, I see.
Prince Namor, the Submariner, swims the water like lightning, and heads for Brooklyn Bridge. Suddenly, Betty um, freezes as she sees the spray on the water. Oh, looks like this is it. Deftly, deftly, she strips off the light dress and, clad in a bathing suit, dives off the wall. Wow, look at that! Wouldn't that catch your attention if you saw that, Tim?
Probably. Well, she looks better than that one chick from the other story.
Well, at least from that one panel, help! Hmm. By the great shark, a swimmer in trouble. Shall I? Let's see. Hesitating but a moment, Namor, um, for no apparent reason, streaks through the water to help her. Good. Oh, Namor stops abruptly and wheels around, facing Betty. And we see that. Good, it's working so far. But what now? Betty feigns unconsciousness and allows herself to be taken by the infamous Submariner. Oh yeah, you notice how his skin they got kind of a purple tint to his skin right there. He's under the water, and yet they still have her as Caucasian right there.
Right.
Let's see. Namor is struck by Betty's beauty. Hmm. You are too lovely to die, even though you are an American. ah, Taking advantage of his easy hold on her, Betty reaches for her gun. Oh boy. On the surface, Betty kicks free and presses the muzzle to Namor's. Oh, look at that! Oh,
Yeah, I
all
see.
right, all right, Mr. Maniac. Will you come peacefully, or do I have to let you have it? Why, you little uh,
I have a feeling he was going to call her a bitch.
furious? Namor strikes the gun from her hand. Impressed by her courage, however, he decides he wants her, and with terrible speed drags her far out to sea. He wants her. Oh boy. Oh boy, I wonder what that means. Ah.
Gives a whole
Oh.
new meaning. Gives a whole new meaning to the scales have tipped in his favor, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh. Oh no, oh no, you don't, young lady. It's not as easy as that. I can use you, girl. Oh boy. Oh, how they write this stuff. At sea, Namor holds the tired girl and stops in the lee of a ship as a giant plane roars overhead in the sky. Um, Bombs drop. The thunderous explosions startle the submariner and freeze his blood. Oh, brother. Aren't they worried about dropping those bombs and getting her as well? What, these people trying to sacrifice her or something like that?
They probably don't know he has her.
Um, Namor lifts Betty up onto the buoy. You're not going to leave me here alone. Sorry, young lady, but this looks like war. When you're rested, you can swim to that little island. I've got to find out what's going on in these waters. As Namor speeds toward the ill-fated ship, he spies a submarine's periscope, cleaving the briny sea. Ah, this is war. Suddenly, a long, shiny cylinder cuts across Namor's path as he dives below the surface. A torpedo. Well, I'll fix this little toy right now. Little toy. With colossal strength, Namor wrestles the giant tube, turning it in its deadly course. Riding it back toward the sub, he purposely aims it low and leaps for the hull, leaving the torpedo to bury itself gently and harmlessly in the mud. So he actually did. So you would have thought initially he would have tried to aim that torpedo towards the ship and sink the ship. That's not what he did. Ah, clinging to the side, he mutters. The torpedo came out of a tube inside this hatch. Why can't I enter the submarine the same way? Then I can do as I please with it. Yeah, with the ship he's talking about there. Risking his very life, Namor slips into the muzzle end of the top of the torpedo tube. God in Himmel, what is that? God in Himmel, what what is that? No, what is that noise there, Lieutenant? Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Gott in Himmel, what is that noise here, Lieutenant? Open it, fools! Something's gone wrong. Enter the submariner. Hurriedly, Namor slams the inner breach, shutting off the raging um, cataract of water. So now he's fighting Germans, it would seem. Can you say so, Tim?
Is he fighting Germans? Because they
Well, go back to the like Rotting Himmel Air Lieutenant. HERR is like hair. Like hey, Lieutenant, and hair is.
Is you sure that's German?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they also weren't really getting involved in the war, so it's not German.
Well, this could also be a way for Germany trying to get to America too, but
But for all intents and purposes, it's not Germany. Wink, wink.
huh.
Nudge, nudge.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, get that man.
You not Germans?
With nightmarish ferocity, Namor goes to work on the bewildered crew. Um, Things are getting a little dim in here, Tim. So I'm gonna before I continue here, I need to get some light on in here. So
Cool.
if you want to give your impressions on the story thus far while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go off camera here for a moment. Hey, Metal's here. Hope you're enjoying the reading
Oh,
here.
he's doing his patented metal elbow cough.
Yeah.
Classic.
Anyways, I'll be right back. If you want to give your impressions on the story thus far as I'm taking care of the lighting situation in here, I'll be right back.
Well, it's the typical like we're not involved with World War II, but we want to mention it, but we don't really want to mention it. They're Germans, but they're not Germans. No, they're not. They're Germans, but they're not Nazis, even though I think the Nazi Party was in full effect at that time. So it's kind of interesting how things are. Oh, it's World War II, but it's not World War II. Shh. Wow, he really meant it when he was saying, "I'm gonna go get that." Okay, so Melvin 3 will be available and launching July 29th on Fun My Comics. You'll see Melvin display a new ability he can regenerate. You'll see Melvin have to choose between being a mercenary and a hero, and you will see Alice deal with the consequences of sneaking out with her friends, which caused the death of her friends, which will be mentioned in the next issue. How are you, Metal? You still watching?
Yeah. Well, and
Oh, he's
Tim,
back. He's back.
yeah,
He's returned.
Tim, well, I had to like fold up my shadings too, in terms of the stuff I was using for. And now, if you guys are still here, if you haven't liked and shared yet, if you do that, so we can try to attract some more people in here to watch the stuff here. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we'll try to answer those to the best of our abilities. And Tim, in those situations too, also feel free to share your links too. Share your links to your stuff. So, um, just so you can try to get the word out as best you can. All right, so now back to the story here then. Let's see. Mercilessly, Namor smashes through the struggling German seaman. There you go, Tim.
Refrain from giggling, folks. Refrain from giggling.
Um, Kamerad! So, my fine insects, you are afraid of the Submariner. Good. Then do as I say. Bring this infernal boat to the surface at once. Let's see. Cummed by Namor's terrifying aspect, the engineers guide the U-boat to the surface. Let's see. Namor leaps nimbly from the conning tower and single-handed mans the deck gun, hammering shells into the Nazi bomber. Wham! So still think they're not German? Tim? They're clearly saying German here.
But for
Like, I knew they were German because that HERR, hair, is, I think, like a German word. So,
yes, but for all intents and purposes, they're not German.
or at least they're not supposed to be German, right? That's what you're getting at.
Don't let them know that they're trying to talk about World War II without being involved in World War II. Shh.
That settles it. That settles that little matter. Now to take care of this submarine. Taking fiendish delight in his prank, Namor twists the vital eye of the Nazi U-boat. With without this pair,
Wait,
without
did
this
it say Nazi U-boat?
Yep, that's what they said. Nazi U-boat.
Oh, what year is this?
1939.
Oh, they're trying to get them involved in the war, aren't they?
Right. Well, we've talked about that before. There were people in there were certain segments of society that did, in fact, want us to get involved in the war. Without this periscope, they cannot see where they are going. Namor dives from the conning tower, leaving the crippled U-boat to flounder helplessly on the surface. Great garfish! I've forgotten the girl, but she must have swum to the island by this time. Amid floating debris, Namor dives for the stern plates of the sinking freighter, determined to rescue it if possible. Not too late to save the ship, but some of the crew will never see daylight again, I'm afraid. So in this case, he's not as much of a villain. He's kind of more of a hero here because he's actually trying to save people here. There's a great explosion as the U-boat crashes into the rock-bound shore. Holy smokes, what was that? Even as Betty examines the wreck, her eye is caught by the sudden life of the sinking ship. The freighter is propelled by the submariner's super colossal strength. Just a little farther, and I'll have this wreck beached. A few moments later, with a ghastly crunching of sand, the ship plows into the beach. What's happened? You, come and give me help with the crew. What's happened? Can't you see? What's happened? Can't you see, you fool? This ship has been bombed. But I don't understand. Why didn't it sink? Never mind that now. Come, man, tell me what this is all about. War. We were a British commercial transport. Unarmed neutral waters. Enemy plane, submarine. Look out for. Dead. Well, he's gone, but so are the bomber and the U-boat. What next? Mr. Submariner, you've done a swell job here. Why don't you do more? Why do you hate us? Hate you? Yes, I hate you, and with good reason. You white devils have persecuted and tormented my people for years, just as you are killing each other off now in this war. Wow, that's quite a damning statement, isn't it, Tim?
So kick rocks, cracker.
Oh boy. But, but no, you are mistaken. The Americans are not bloodthirsty. We are a gentle, easygoing race. Unless we are aroused by injustice or intolerance on the part of our neighbors. Oh, can't you see how you misjudge us? We are kind, and all we want is peace and law and order. We fight only for that. Perhaps, perhaps you are right. I don't know, but you seem honest enough. What would you have me do? See, Namor's in kind of a tough situation here now because now that he's actually talked to an American, he realized maybe they aren't the evil devils that some of his people believe they are, right? Because that's the whole thing of why he came to America to go after it in the first place, right?
Yes.
Good. I knew you see it my way. With your strength and supernatural power, you can do a lot for the world. How about it? I, I I'll try, but where do I begin? Well, there's supposed to be an enemy flotilla and mine blockade somewhere southeast of here. I'm of English descent and would like to see what you can do with this blockade. But don't think my sentiment has any connection with America. It's purely selfish. uh, you amuse me. You just told me you are not bloodthirsty, but because I like you, I'll see what I can do. It makes no difference to me whose side I'm on. Oh boy. I think ultimately he's on his own side and he's on the side of whatever pretty girl has his attention, right, Tim?
Well, yeah, he doesn't care what happens to the surface as long as the ocean is okay.
Right. Uh, Back in his element, Namor streaks away on his new mission. Can he run the blockade? She's a clever girl, but not very consistent. However, if she wants this blockade destroyed, I'll fix it for her. So tell me something, Tim. Would you do that for your girl?
Take down an entire blockade
If you could.
if I could, and there would be any. I suppose I would,
Hmm.
but since we're dealing with reality here, I can't do that without being killed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Where she's from, they don't play.
yeah. Um, 10 minutes later, in the dreaded minefield, um, hmm, no use in simply destroying these mines. Might just as well put them to work on the enemy ships and submarines. I swam under a few as I approached the minefield. So it looks like you're going to take some of those mines and put them, give them back to their owners in a very special way, wouldn't you say? There,
Yes.
yeah. I'll put this mine in the path of a destroyer rise to the surface and cry out the submarine alarm. Duck out of sight, and we'll see what happens. The mindset Namor gives the alarm in the enemy's own language. Apparently, he can handle the. And he's multilingual. Look at that. Instantly, the Great Destroyer is underway in a frantic effort to maneuver away from the dreaded Phantom submarine. But she is ignorant of Namor's treachery and goes sky high in a thunderous explosion. 2 more battleships succumb to the monstrous attack. Prepare to submerge! Full speed! Namor has worked fast, switching minds. Now he watches the diving submarine preparing another surprise. Namor darts for the U-boat's rudder and divine planes. A nice prize for that. A nice prize for that courageous little lady who made me, in smaller quotes, see the light. This will show her that I'm willing to admit I'm wrong. Air Captain, come quickly. The ship does not respond. We're going in the wrong direction. Confusion reigns within the U-boat. Mein Gott! Gruber, you're right. Stop the motors. Prepare to send. But the moment the motors cease, Namor, with Herculean strength, rips the rope hoops from the ship, from their holes. Having disabled the sub, Namor flies away on winged feet. I've changed my mind. I shall give this prize to the Allied navies. But first, I'll have to find their nearest base. So now he's going to give it to the Americans, it looks like. Quickly, you men, warn your commander that I'm bringing in an enemy submarine. Am I seeing things, or did you see it too? That was the Submariner, by George. It's crazy, but we'd better do as he says. He's not one to joke about such things. Frantically, warnings are flashed to the flagship and preparations are made for the arrival of the captured submarine. Sub chasers dash out to haze the U-boat, and while the rest of the fleet forms a trap. Heave to and surrender. Guess my job is done now to get back to the girl and the wrecked freighter. This should be retribution for the mistakes I've made. But how shall I explain it to my mother and to the elders of my tribe? Quite a predicament he's in, isn't he, Tim?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Hmm. Here I am, miss, and the job is done. Now I must go back to my people. Well, look who's here. I really didn't expect you to come back. I gave you a chance to escape. Well, sir, you're here. We can't let you go again, yet there's work to be done, and in the North Sea, and on land too. Will you continue to help the Allies' cause? What will be Namor's answer? Will he stay to assist the Allies in the Great War, or does his thoughtful expression mean that he has something deeper up his sleeve? Watch out for his answer in the next issue of Marvel Comics. Now, at this point, of course, Marvel Comics is the name of Marvel Mystery Comics is the name of the book here. Oh, okay, so and you did actually share your links there.
Yes,
Highlight.
I did.
Wow, we're already past. Well, I was gonna
I
try to
want I
do.
wanted to, I wanted to set the record straight out there. I know there might be possibly a rumor about these two books, Melvin Zero and Melvin Three. The artwork for Melvin 3 was actually finished before the artwork for Melvin 0. Melvin 0 isn't like complete yet. It's like 6 pages away. So if you heard something like I don't know, along the lines of let me see what I'll read something, a fraction of something. I'm not going to give any names. If you heard something along the lines of let's see, a page to an upping it to 60 because I found out he was paying Rob to do 0 and the other guy is to do number 3 at the same time. That never happened. I want to set the record straight that Melvin 2 was finished before Melvin 3. Melvin 3 was finished before Melvin issue 0. And well, so I want to make that clear that who's ever saying that is lying. Um, that is not what's happening here. Thank you.
All right. Well, hopefully, there's no kind of skullduggery or chicanery going on there.
No, well, I mean, there's not any skullduggery done on my part. It's done by someone else. So I want to make that clear to whoever watches this program.
Um, is somebody trying to derail your campaign or something like that?
Somebody is lying, to make themselves look less bad, and that's all I'll say about that.
Okay, and you're obviously you're not going to tell us
No,
who it is or give
no,
it.
I'm not going to do that because that wouldn't be professional.
Right. I take is this somebody you've been working with or?
Well, I'm just going to go back to my previous statement.
Oh,
This
I'm
is what.
sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't have asked that. My bad.
Yeah, yeah, it's all right. It's all good. That's all. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Anyways, we're actually coming up on 2 hours and 15. I was gonna try to read the Kazar feature, but that's also 12 pages. At some point, I'm gonna read the Kazar with maybe Namor. I thought maybe I could get through all three, but we really. But what I'm going to do now here is I'm going to start to wrap things up here. So I hope everybody did enjoy what were able to get through. Um, we're going to, of course, we're going to go ahead and do this day in each history, and then we're going to wrap up. And Tim, if you can stick around for a couple minutes afterwards for post show.
Oh, of
Um,
course, naturally.
yeah. So as I said, I hope everybody did in fact enjoy the material. Did you enjoy the material that we read, Tim, from what you were here for?
It was interesting only in the fact that Marvel was different before Marvel was actually considered Marvel Comics.
Yeah. In other words, given the perspective of how things were back then as opposed to how they are now, right? Right?
Sorry, I forgot I hit that. Right? Yes, yes, indeed. Um, and that they kind of hinted at World War II. One, you could tell there are certain people in a certain way of thinking that wanted us to get involved in World War II.
Right. They wanted us to be more interventionalist, which at the time there were many regular Americans who were not wanting to get involved, but you did have a segment of society that did want us to get involved, unfortunately. All right, so with that, today is Friday, June 3rd, so the last day. So we are now officially, if you think about it, we're just about officially halfway through 2023 now.
Yep.
We're on the last day, some parts of the world are already into July, obviously, but
yes,
we still got a few more hours here before we're technically into July. But we're essentially halfway through the year,
Yes.
So with that, today is Friday, June the 30th. So we're gonna go 2023.
I have to actually retract what I said before. I actually have to be somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
I could come back when you're off air, and then we could go over it. But I have to go.
Oh, you have to go right now?
Yes.
All right. Because one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Well, okay. Before you go, if you really have to go, let me at least do this with you, Grant. We'll do it on air here. Okay. So the next couple of days that I have open for co-hosting are Friday, July 14th and Friday, July 28th.
28th will be fine.
The 28th? Okay. So I'll have you down for 28th then. Okay.
All right. Well, you take care of yourself, Mike.
You too.
Peace
Thanks,
out.
Jim. All right.
Bye.
All right. So we're gonna wrap up the show just as we started, just with me. So with that, and I will try to see if I can find somebody for the 14th. We got Rick coming in next week for the 7th. Now maybe we might have him on 2 weeks in a row, but or we'll try to see if we can find somebody else to come in if we can. RJ will be with us on the 21st, and of course Tim will be back here on the 28th. So with that, today, as I said, is Friday, June the 30th, 2023. So let's take a look back at this day in each history, and then we'll wrap things up here. 99, 1973, and 1973. Okay. All right. So first off, we're gonna head back to 1973, 50 years ago today. And we're gonna kind of an extension on what we were talking about the other day, because on this date in 1973, 50 years ago today, and Belladonna of Sadness, which of course made its premiere on the 27th in Berlin, makes its Japanese and French premiere on this date back in 1978. So the Belladonna of Sadness, which, as I mentioned the other day when we talked about it, an adult animated film produced by Mushi Productions. On this date, 30 years ago or 50 years ago today, would make its Japanese and French premiere 3 days after making its world premiere in Berlin. So that happened 50 years ago today there. And 1973 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date back in 1973, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF, known today as the WWE, would have its first card promoted from Madison Square Garden. Now, Madison Square Garden, as everybody knows, would basically become the WWF, WWE's home arena. On this date, 50 years ago today, they was the first WWF promoted event at Madison Square Garden Arena. And they would air it on the premium cable channel HBO. So HBO was around even back in 1973. Now, again, this is long before, cable television, went national, I guess. This is like, 7-8 years before that. But On this date, 50 years ago, the WWF would promote its first card from, its first card from. Prior to that, it was, the company was being promoted as Capital Wrestling Corporation, so under the NWA banner. So, actually, in fact, at that point, yeah. So, anyways, so with that, we'll now move on to the final piece of niche history, which happened 24 years ago today. On this date, 24 years ago today, the 40th issue of Hitman from DC Comics went on sale on this date back in 1999. So on this date back in 1999, the 40th issue of Hitman, which sold for $2.50 for 32 pages. The story was part 2 of the For Tomorrow story, written by Garth Ennis, penciled by John McCrea, inked by Gary Leach, lettered by Patricia Prentice, colored by Carla Feeney. So on this date, 24 years ago today, the 40th issue of Hitman from DC Comics went on sale. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. And I hope everybody enjoyed the material tonight. Was hoping to get to the Kazar story, but we are running a little long tonight, so I figured, we'll hopefully down the road we'll eventually get back and get some samplings of Kazar, the Golden Age Kazar here. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. We'll be back here on Sunday with our panel. Hope you guys will join us. I hope you guys will join us every night as we cover all the world of niche as we know it. As I said, next week, Rick Piper will be joining me as we'll be going through some material from books that went on sale in November 1939 from Archie MLJ Enterprises. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all on Sunday. Bye.